wish I had the clap.
Not literally, but
Welcome to yet another episode of Growler Garage. What? Why are we already laughing? We just started.
that would be an interesting conversation.
Literally, the episode's
You know
only
that's
just
where
started.
I'm going to start the show, right?
You always do.
Yeah.
We're already falling off the rails. That's a new record. 32 seconds in. Welcome to another episode of Growler Garage, episode 11 now. I'm your host, Pat Britton, alongside our guest today, Jason Collins.
Hello.
How's it going today, Jason?
It's going good. It's going good.
Glad to hear it. Drove all the way here from way out in the Inland Empire. Hopefully you're actually working in this area today or something.
I was down in Santa Ana.
Nice. Okay, so that was an easy drive for you.
The IE of the OC.
I love that. I've heard it called the Tijuana of California, but hey,
Yeah.
that kind of is the same. Today, we've gotten away from our namesake yet again, and we're not drinking growlers, and that's because Jason volunteered to bring us some beer. And anytime we have some Bear Republic, like racing-themed beer, I always, I'm more than happy to have free beer, especially when it's good stuff like this. So
You're a real swell guy.
yeah, that's right.
Thanks for the beer, man.
Brought a couple of them. So producer Matt's back there enjoying it with us. So Bear Republic Cafe Racer 15, I'm guessing is what it's called. I don't know what order they would normally put that in, but I'm going to assume Cafe Racer 15.
Yeah, it's a double IPA.
It is, and it's delicious because I normally am not a big IPA, especially double IPA fans, but Bear Republic always knocks it out of the park. And they don't sponsor us, but I always like the stuff they do.
They should sponsor us.
They should.
Yeah.
If you can get that, you can be an ongoing guest on the couch.
Nice.
You can just,
Yep.
you will put a plaque there, and you can just have your spot on the couch every time you come back.
I know. Well, I'll work on that.
All right, we'll see. There we go. He's a salesman by trade, so he'll probably be able to pull it off for us. So Jason is a lifelong racing fan. That's pretty fair to say, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And he was pretty involved back in the Champ Car days, if ever anybody remembers that dinosaur series, with a lot of the folks over there. So he has some cool, really fun stories to share about that, as well as racing karts now, which is how we know each other. But it's not actually how we met, which is funny. We'll get back around to that later. And then we both drive the same car. Although yours is a lot nicer because he's spent a lot more money on it than I have, which is nice because I wish I could do that eventually. His car's kind of like, I look at it, I'm like, okay, I like that. I'm going to do exactly that. I like that, but maybe a different color. It's like, you're doing it all for me, so I don't have to learn by doing it myself. I can just like use you as an example. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Well, I'm glad you appreciate it because the girl I'm dating right now called it a death trap on wheels.
That's a compliment.
That's not even close to a death trap.
I've never ridden in a real death trap. His car's super cool. He's got, the nice Recaro seats. They're the same as the ST2 seats, right? But just kind of different badges because you bought them aftermarket Ford Performance,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Or Ford Racing.
Yeah.
But they're the same thing, right?
They're the same thing. Yeah.
You should let him borrow the Cordoba.
That would be fun.
That's a death trap.
Yeah. She kept dating you after that.
I've had plenty of cars that were death trap on wheels, but yeah.
Tell us about some of the stuff you've had. I know you have, the Focus ST now. Before that, you had a Mazda 6, which you didn't have for very long.
No.
You've had some Audis here and there, I think, right?
Yeah, A7, A4. Then older cars I had was a 63.5 Ford Galaxy.
Nice.
Yeah, I shouldn't have got rid of that one.
Well, we can all say that.
Yeah. Then my first
Welcome
car
to the
was,
club.
Yeah, exactly. Had a couple
founded the club.
Mustangs,
Yeah.
and then a 55 Ford F100.
Oh, those are cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is that the unibody truck?
No, that was they did that in the 60s. I'm not sure what year. I think
Okay.
62 or 63.
Okay.
But the 55s were like, the bubble fenders and all that stuff.
The year of those trucks, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, those 50s and 60s Fords, as far as trucks are concerned, for me, there's nothing even close.
No.
Like the Dodge trucks, I like what's going on underneath them, but the front ends of those Dodge trucks are the most horribly hideous things.
Totally agree.
My brother's owned about 5 of them, and they're great trucks, but they're ugly. And the Chevys are just Chevys. They're everywhere, and they're just, I don't know, they're just boring to me.
Yeah.
But the Fords, they've got a lot of style, so.
No, you don't even see any old Dodge trucks
Not really.
anywhere.
They're pretty rare. Yeah, they're not common at all.
They're on farms or something.
Yeah, they're usually
Rusting
Gardner
away.
trucks, or my brother had an ex-Forest Service truck. So it was like kind of a weird green color.
Oh, yeah.
With the slant 6 and what was weird is it had 4 on the floor.
Yep.
So they're normally a 3 on the tree.
Yeah.
But he found a 4 on the floor one. It was clean, super clean, and then he bought it. And
Then it wasn't clean anymore.
And he raised the value of the car, but to a small group of people because he hates the term rat rod, but most people would call it that, even though it wasn't. He sprayed it flat black, did a pretty decent job, slammed the thing on the ground. Really? I thought we got this fixed.
No.
Come on. It worked fine last episode.
That's pretty much a rat rod by definition, though.
Kinda, yeah. See if that fixes it. Whatever. I don't give a shit. The thing is that the rat rod thing has gotten so far away from, I think, what the initial it used to be just a cheap hot rod.
Yeah.
You know, just which is kind of the epitome of hot rodding. You know, you just build it as cheap as you can do it, and then. And that was kind of a rat rod. Now, with people purposely try to make their stuff look like shit, they drill holes in it. They like leave wet, like soapy sponges on it so it rusts overnight. You know, it's just I don't like the modern day what rat rods have become personally. But.
And they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to make it look cheap.
Yeah, like Paul Tracy has one. I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, that it was just an over the top, ridiculous.
He has a few.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Paul Tracy's simultaneously the best and worst person on the planet. I don't know him personally. That's just his persona. That's how he looks from TV. I'm sure he's all right. I'm just saying.
If you met his mom and dad, you'd understand a lot more.
Yeah, I bet he's a hoot to hang out with. I've heard a lot of fun stories about him. He does seem like a decent enough guy, but I look at his taste sometimes and I go, you know what? If I had that kind of money, I'd probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
Just try to needle people a little bit. But let's talk about the karting, you know, that you got into it back in 2012 out at Cal Speed doing the sport karting.
Yeah, I did some karting growing up with my dad, and then I got out of it for the longest amount of time, and then I saw you posting videos and stuff on a forum that we both frequent, and I asked you, hey, where are you doing this at? And that's kind of how I learned about Cal Speed and found my way out there. And so yeah, I'm in my third season. My first season, I was just kind of following the leader out there and not really driving aggressive or anything. Just kind of, I don't know, I was just kind of driving around. I really wasn't just trying to find my feet and get back into everything. Last year was my second season. I think I did less than half the events. Schedule was pretty busy, but this has been a good year.
Yeah,
so
I was definitely going to say is, you know, and somebody else sitting off camera is somebody else who races at Cal Speed with us, Andrew, and you can, if you want to sit on the couch and talk, you can kind of throw in your 2 cents on this also, because he started, I think, just before you, but kind of like you, he hasn't run the full seasons as much. But specifically to what you've been able to accomplish, it's really interesting because you started a couple years after the kind of the flow of all the drivers into Cal Speed when the series just exploded. Yeah. So guys that are the top runners that are winning races have been the same ones since the beginning of the series, and there's been very few, if any, that have managed to kind of crack into that, you know, even just into the A mains, which for those who don't understand how Cal Speed works, it's basically you race all day and the top 25% of the field gets in the A main, the next 25 in the B main, the next 25 in the C, and the slowest 25% are in the D main. So making the A main is a huge accomplishment. So people might hear and go, oh, you finished 25th? Like, okay. That's out of 120 people, of which 60 of them are legitimately good drivers. You know, the other 60 or so are decent enough. You know, there's usually only about 10 who are, you know, awful. But the thing is, somebody walks in there off the street, they're gonna be in the D main guaranteed, and they're probably gonna be last in the D main.
Yeah.
But yet you went from being kind of a front of the D main type of guy your first year, maybe back of the seat as the season kind of went on, to now if you don't make an A main, you're disappointed.
Yeah, well, I've actually never been in a D main.
Oh, all right. That's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, so my first time out, I made the C main. I was like, this is easy enough, but it was pretty humbling. You know, just trying to get out of that C main and then into the B and then the front of the B and then crack into that A main field. And I mean, it's really different, the style of driving out there. I mean, you've really got to be aggressive when you can, pick your spots and know who to go with. But yeah, it's very different. I mean, the draft it's just so weird how big of a factor the draft is out there. Yeah,
no, that's probably my favorite part of that, of the kind of the weird anomaly that Cal Speed is, which if anybody's listening that's never been there, legitimately there's a draft. It looks like, on certain layouts, it looks like a restrictor plate NASCAR race on a road course with go-karts. You can't get away no matter what you do, and that makes such a unique form of racing in general, because it's the only place I know of that allows you to race that style without having to be a top tier driver as far as being in NASCAR or being to a lesser extent in some of the the other lower series. But there's not much drafting that goes on until you're in the 180, 200 mile an hour range in most kinds of cars.
Exactly.
So it allows us, wish we were or has-beens or whatever, to go and have that kind of style of racing. And it's you wouldn't think it exists.
No.
And that's really interesting. But something you mentioned quickly, it's how you got into Cal Speed was via that online message board, which is funny because it's something that even Matt may even be familiar with, that message board that I used to go to. It was a NASCAR 2003 message board at Hart called Rubbin's Racing.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to be on it all the time back when NASCAR 2003 was like the game. It's kind of the precursor to iRacing and all that kind of stuff. So I'm on there, and I don't know how much you played that or not, but you were kind of more in the racing discussion part of the board back when Champ Car was still a thing, and before that, Kart and whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically the first time, really interacting was when you made a post saying that if you have tickets to the San Jose Champ Car race, you may want to, be ready for it because it's going to get canceled, if I recall right. And I happened to be at Droma 1, which was the precursor to Cal Speed, out there karting with some of my buddies that were going out to that race that weekend. It was literally that short of notice, if I remember right. It was like 3 or 4 days before the race.
Yep.
And I said, hey guys, I just read a thing that San Jose might get canceled. And they're looking around, and one of the guys worked for Racer Magazine. And he's like, no, it's not. You're nuts. The next day, the news comes out, and I was like, all right, this guy knows what he's talking about. Because they made me feel like an asshole. They're like, no, you're making shit up. And I was like so excited because I was like, yeah, those assholes. But and then however else after that, then we started talking, and you got out to Cal Speed, which was super cool. But take us back to kind of the Champ Car days, and not even just the end of days where everything was kind of anything seemingly that could go wrong with Champ Car went wrong.
Yeah.
But even back before that, when it looked like IRL was going to be the ones who were going to go away any day, even though they had all that money behind them, everything was wrong with IndyCar at the time, and Kart was really the ones on top. How involved were you, and how did you kind of meet these people, and like how did that all come together? Because it seemed like you always knew what was happening before it happened, even though you weren't working for a team or anything, right?
Not in official capacity, no.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, Champ Car and IRL employed, I don't know how many people, but they would have people that they would funnel information to go out and post on message boards.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Is that real life? That happened?
That's real life. So
that's hilarious.
Sounds like IndyCar.
Yeah, I mean, there was a huge battle. I mean, IndyCar, IRL and Champ Car fought on every level you could imagine. So from having people post things on message boards to, you name it. So, I mean, the hatred was real, with everybody. So, so that's how I got a lot of my information, from insider information from, one of the three owners or two of the three owners. I don't really want to name names.
Sure.
But,
Yeah, of course.
but yeah, there was a lot that went on behind the scenes.
Sure. Yeah. And, even though, Kart or Champ Car is the one that went away, and people might look at it and go, well, IndyCar won. It's not really true. NASCAR won in reality. Because if I'm not mistaken, and I was pretty young when the split actually happened, but from what I understand is that Bill France had a lot to do with the split happening in the first place, that he was kind of in Tony George's ear,
Sure.
Telling him, hey, you need to stand up for yourself. And maybe perhaps a little part of that was, depends on who you believe.
Yeah.
Maybe he was standing up for himself, perhaps in about the worst way you can imagine. But
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's not just a coincidence that NASCAR went to Indy, in the early days of the IRL. I mean, if NASCAR never went there, the IRL would have never been able to sustain itself.
Right, because all their money came from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, the Holman George family.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's what kept them in business for the first, 5, maybe 10 years, right? Was because the series was losing money. It might even still be losing money.
Yeah, I'm not that involved with it anymore, but I mean, just about every team is hemorrhaging money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the cars started out as being, a budget car, quotes, but then the body kits and everything ends up being more expensive than they thought. And yeah, I mean, we could go on for days what's wrong with open wheel racing, but what can you say other than the proofs in the TV ratings and in the crowd at the track? I mean, earlier this year, one of the best races ever was at Auto Club Speedway, and nobody was there to see it.
No, I think there was more people at our race.
Yeah, we were next door for our national championship at the same time, and legitimately, like, as people funneled, I worked at the track at the time, and we had to do all this stuff to make sure that people couldn't get on the track, and so that there was good foot traffic paths, and there's a lot of prep work that went into that to make sure that these tens of thousands of people had a way to get in and out. But legitimately, I mean, we were all standing there, they were walking past the track, and it looked like a Porsche Owners Club race.
Exactly.
Getting out. There was more of us in the paddock, legitimately, than there was people leaving.
There was when I was leaving to go to the race on Saturday morning, our race, and I thought maybe I should leave early because who knows what traffic may be like. And I was like, nah, it'd be fine. It'd be fine.
Yeah, because it was almost when that all happened, we had already announced the dates for the Grand Nationals, a year in advance, right? And then IndyCar set their schedule, and it ended up being the same weekend. And some of the management at CalSpeed was like, "Wait a minute, you guys knew our event. How could you do that?" Oh, well, IndyCar's more important. We're gonna have to move you guys a week back. And management kind of held strongly, like, "No, we're not getting off that date. Let's make it a companion thing." They went, "Oh, we need the parking lot. We need the parking lot." And he went, "No, you don't need the parking lot. You have the autocross lot across the street, which will hold more than enough people."
Exactly.
And it was this kind of back and forth, and it ended up that they were right, that they could have fit everybody in half that autocross parking lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because when they were leaving the IndyCar race, they were actually lining up on our fence line and watching our race.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it was like threatening rain and stuff, and people were just kind of standing there taking pictures, and it was, that portion of it was pretty cool. I mean, because sport karting inherently, karting in general, especially sport karting inherently, is not a spectator sport.
No.
It just isn't interesting. I think if it were presented in the right way, it could be, because you can see the driver and you can see everything they're doing, and people don't really understand what goes into it, but it's inherently just, people don't care about stuff that doesn't take, either a huge amount of money to accomplish or that anybody can go do. And the fact of it is anybody can go kart racing, especially sport karting. If you've got $125 in your pocket, you can go sport karting. So nobody cares to watch it because they want to be out there doing it, even if they're out there getting their ass kicked. And that's the double-edged sword of sport karting is anybody can do it, which is great because, there's a lot of participation, but nobody cares to watch it. And it'll never be anything more than what it is.
I don't want to watch it.
No, I hate watching it, unless I'm calling the race, and then I'm only making it interesting for myself. So, talking, kind of switching gears back again to your focus that you have now. You've done. We'll go through all the things you've done to your car now, because we're a car show about everything, about racing, about old muscle cars. The focus is kind of, it's an American car, but it's almost more of a tuner kind of in a way.
Oh, absolutely.
But, you've done a lot to your car. What have you done?
Just about everything but a big turbo. So, a larger intercooler from Steeda, Bilstein shocks, Ford Racing springs, the Recaro seats, the Montoon quick shift arm, the Ford Racing shifter, MagnaFlow exhaust, got a tune from Stratified, and then the Cobb access port. I think that's about it. So.
What wheels do you have on there?
Oh, the Koenig.
Koenig wheels?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the Koenig oversteers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you feel like you still have to do on it?
No, it's pretty much done.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You've had the car, a year or so?
Just over a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got it all done. So
Yeah.
you got it done that quick, and you're just like, okay, this is good enough for me?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing a big turbo, but with the RS coming out, I'm just gonna leave it as it is because it's already got way too much power for just a front wheel drive car. I mean, just putting a big turbo on there is just gonna make that problem even worse.
And now the cars are 250-ish horsepower stock.
Yeah.
And you've done all that to it. Obviously, I don't think you've had it on a dyno, right?
No, I haven't.
Have you come across dyno charts of people who've done the same stuff or pretty close estimation?
Yeah, at the wheels, most people with my mods are getting around 275, 280.
Wow. So that's clear of probably 320 crank, 330 crank.
Probably, yeah.
So you're up a good 70 or 80 horsepower on stock.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, it's, from a dig, it obviously there's no traction, but from a roll, like a 20 mile an hour roll, I mean, the thing just pulls like crazy.
Yeah. No, and you haven't even driven it in the wintertime yet, right?
Well, I mean, as much of a winter we have here in Southern
that's true.
California. So,
Yeah, we don't get a true turbo season out here,
No.
but it still helps.
Just put ice there in the.
Yeah, that's the old days of when we used to go to Fontana for the drag races. Even with our carbureted cars, we'd put ice on the intake manifold. I don't know much to help, but
I don't think it did, but
it helped.
I'm sure it helped with the heat soak, if nothing else. Just run back to back, 110 degree, pre-global warming weather.
pre-global warming, pre-algorithm.
So, speaking of car mods, some of you might be asking is what this is. So, the Cordoba that's in the intro to the show.
Although I haven't been including the intro lately.
I know, because you're a lazy fuck.
No, it's because it messes up the audio.
Well, we need to fix that.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right, so there's a Cordoba that I own, 75 Chrysler Cordoba. I call it the Chargeoba because it's the same platform as a Charger, even though people don't believe me. So I was getting it ready all week. All this week I've been getting ready to go to a car show with the car club that I'm in. And things running great. Got a floor shifter in it, feeling good. Got the interior how I wanted it and all that stuff. And I basically the last step I wanted to do before the car show was take the steering column apart so I could paint it black and get rid of the indicator on the column for what gear you're in. So I get that all taken care of, and the last step is I need to get the column shifter off, which is what's in my hand. So I take it, it's just a pin in the center of it. It's all it is. Right. So I go to hammer it out, nothing. And I have like a 2.5 pound sledge I'm hitting it with. Like it's not like I have a little hammer. I'm wailing on this thing.
Really?
Just wailing on this
pin. Like pressed in or something?
Yeah, but it still should come out. So then I take a drill and I drill it, and I'm bigger now than what the pin is in that. The pin no longer exists in that thing.
It's
like
still come out.
I end up having like a 5/8 inch hole in this.
And you drilled it all the way through.
All the way through. There's no more pin in that, and it's still stuck.
So in the process of drilling it out, you must have welded it in.
I guess I did a better job than the factory ever could have done, because I'm sitting there yanking on it. It's still shifting. The arm's still moving fine. It's still got all the articulation and all that. And I'm sitting there.
Wow,
so I'm
crazy.
drilling it. I'm hitting it, drilling it, hitting it. I hit the drill 1 or 2 times with a hammer. For an hour, I'm out here in the garage just sweating bullets, just destroying my steering column. And finally I get upset, and I just take my die grinder and I just cut this off. And it basically I left this on the table over there, and it was like super hot, and I left it there, and we came here to do the show today, and Matt's like, what did you do? So we're trying to figure out what we want to do with this. So where I'm going with this is I want to try to get some YouTube or Facebook comments, and I'll put up a thing on there to remind you guys of what we need to do with this. It is just a straight piece of metal, and I don't know if I should make a necklace out of it. If I should make like what do they call them, plugs for your ear,
Should make it like a microphone handle or something.
Oh yeah, we could maybe like put it here, or maybe I could just hook it on the bottom so I can move it. I don't know why I would need to do that, but some jerk's gonna be like, make it into like a shift arm, but for like a floor shifter. I've never seen anybody do that.
No.
We're talking about rat rods. That would be something rat roddy. So for now, I'm gonna use it as a pointer. So if there's anything I need to point at, so I'm gonna point at the trivia scores.
All right.
And all that kind of stuff.
I'm saying we should turn it into a bottle opener.
Oh, there you go.
It might already. Somebody give me a bottle of beer, because there's already notches in this. Can somebody hand me one of those blue moons?
It's not gonna work.
I think it is. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you, Beer Girl Taylor.
Let me finish this one.
Anybody? I don't know if you've watched any of the shows, but a couple weeks back when we did the what was it, the malt liquor challenge, we had beer Girl Graham.
Yes.
So anyone that steps onto the camera is now Beer Girl.
Gotcha.
So
This is gonna work. I don't have any fulcrum.
we'll see. What I was suggesting is to like weld an actual bottle opener end onto the end of that thing.
It kind of already has one, but it's on the wrong angle.
That would make an awesome beer opener.
You know what?
Yeah, we're gonna get on that.
I should take it to my work before I leave, and I should machine a notch into that.
You guys have machines at your work?
Yeah, I have a CNC machine.
Well, why would you need a CNC machine to notch a piece of
To make it like all nice and pretty looking.
Yeah. Why not?
Because I have lower standards than you guys. I have a Sawzall, and I have a die grinder, and I have pliers to hold it.
But I have access to a CNC machine.
Big deal.
For now.
We could 3D print something. I don't know how that would work, but anyways.
It wouldn't.
Yeah, so something that we're going to get off topic of the show, but we had to talk about it. And you want to talk about it. Maybe you need to have more beer first. But you mentioned that you've recently gotten into Tinder.
Yes.
And for people that don't know Jason super well, he's a very unassuming guy when you kind of first meet him, but he's not afraid of saying anything to anybody ever at any point in time, especially if something funny could come out of it. And I've seen some of the pictures that people have as their like profile picture, and I don't know if we need to quite get into that, but is anything just I don't know, tell us some Tinder stories.
Oh man. So at the urging of a friend, I joined or signed up for Tinder. And yeah, it's been an interesting experience. I went on one Tinder date, and the girl sent me pictures that was of her, but probably 10 years ago.
Nice.
Because when she showed up, she was about 100 pounds heavier.
Nice.
In pictures. And I know the ladies out there are going to be like, well, don't be a superficial jerk. But I mean, if I posted pictures of Brad Pitt and said it was me, ladies would be just as pissed. So, yeah, that didn't go over too well.
Is the girl that called your car Death Trap on Tinder?
Well, her friends and family don't want... She doesn't want her friends and family to know that we met on Tinder, so we met through a mutual friend called Ted Nur. You know Ted, don't you?
Yeah. I don't, but my friends do.
I went to college with that guy.
Yeah. So he did me a kindness and
took algebra with him.
introduced me to her. So
That's nice.
So thanks to Megan, I'm not on Tinder anymore.
That's good.
Yeah, but it was an interesting experience.
Glad you did it.
Yeah, sure. Why not? It was fun. It made for some interesting conversations and some things to share with friends. So
Yeah.
a lot of nurses and married people, I think, are on Tinder. Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's why there was no married women on what was it, Ashley Madison? They were all on Tinder instead because they're all cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's funny, like with all that stuff, it's like it was all dudes on there and then bots, right?
Yeah.
Like they were proving that like Ashley Madison had their own spam bots that would just interact with these guys.
Did you see the one? There was two. They geolocated a bunch of accounts to 2 locations in China. Like 2 separate office buildings were responsible for like tens of thousands of accounts on Ashley Madison.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. No. So I mean, I joined mostly all the Jewish dating sites, and by Jewish I mean free. So,
How far away from Farmers Only were you on there? Like, was that the next step for you?
Bruce asked me to go on Farmers Only, and at first I thought it was just a joke because Bruce makes jokes like that. And then I saw the commercial, and I was like, "Holy shit!" There's
do it, man.
Yeah, but I don't really know how many farmers are in Southern California.
No, it's all like cowboys.
The thing that I've thought about on there is that one's kind of brilliant in a way, right? Because probably the biggest issue with dating apps, I assume, I've never been on one, is there's probably just not very many women on most of them. It's mostly dudes, unless you get to the real classy ones, the Plenty of Fish or whatever. Where Plenty of Fish, classy. I have friends who met on there and got married. Oh man! And neither of them are ugly. It's weird.
John's on Plenty of Fish.
See, well, that's when I say it's classy. I mean like Tinder is here, Plenty of Fish here.
No, not really.
Grindr is down here.
Grindr.
No, like Tinder and Plenty of Fish are
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's all the same.
That is quote John's poop app.
I don't
think there's a classy.
So he goes
dating.
on there.
Well, isn't like eHarmony kind of classy?
I don't think so. I think it's all the same.
Maybe.
Because those are the ones where they're trying to get a relationship, whereas Tinder's flat out you're trying to just screw people on there, right?
I suppose the ones that
for the most part
you're actually throwing money at are maybe a little higher brow than.
I don't know. I mean, I think I think it just depends on who you are as a person, really. I mean,
yeah,
maybe.
My thought is just.
I mean, I'm classy, and I was on Tinder.
Yeah, that says its own thing. There you go. My thought is, as Farmers Only, there's this kick right now where every loose moral college girl is into cowboys, right? Pretty much,
right?
In Southern California. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you got to think that's probably where the ones who maybe like a 6 out of 10. That like have a bunch of friends that are 8s and 9s out of 10, but they want to like feel like that they are getting dudes also. They're probably mostly on Farmers Only, I feel like.
Yeah.
And this is based off of.
Because I'm a cowboy that lives in Anaheim.
You just buy some boots, man. You'll be all right. And you go to like In Cahoots is right up the street here.
Or the ranch.
The
ranch, dude. Oh. The ranch is like a single guy's paradise.
Yeah.
Oh
man, I mean it's like
a 3-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, and they're usually not ugly.
No.
It's like...
And it's packed.
If you can pull off boots and a hat, even remotely decent, it's like... You can drag down 8s at those places, pretty easily.
All day long.
And I'm wondering if Farmers Only is kind of the online version of those places.
Maybe.
That's my thought. I don't know. That's where... If I were a single dude, then I were at that level, that's probably where I'd go.
We should do a Growler Garage dating website test.
I have an idea. We create a Growler Garage Tinder account that doesn't even try to hide what it is. It says, this is a podcast.
Yes.
Come on a date on the podcast with the camera. We'll just talk to these people we never met before.
You guys would be, yeah.
That's a solid idea.
Girls love attention.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
They'll be lining up down the street.
Hey. I don't know, we're doing it. That's going to be stupid.
Yes.
we'll let them in first based off what kind of car they show up in.
There you go.
And there's no first come, first serve. It's like, what'd you drive here? Camaro? Back of the line.
Or beer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. If they bring a 12-pack, my wife will hate me. She's gonna be so upset. Who are all these floozies here? No, it's for the podcast. It's fine.
By the way, the girl I did meet on Tinder, very classy. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You probably meet her here She actually wants to come out and watch sport karting. I tried to convince her not to.
Gonna have a bad time.
Either need to put a ring on it, or she doesn't know what a good time is. I don't know.
Yeah.
If she goes to Machismo as her first race, that would just be, she'd probably just you never see her again. Like, this is stupid. So Machismo's are the 12-hour kart race, and yeah, it's 12 hours in a cart. I mean, there's
12 hours.
There's teams of people, but sometimes teams of 2 do it. We saw it last year with Darren and Brian.
That would be tough. That's some endurance.
It's just dumb. It's just dumb. I don't know why people do that to themselves.
Yeah.
For the challenge.
I have a feeling Taylor's probably planning to do something like that this year. Who we're going to talk to next week.
Taylor's going to do a one-man team.
I've fantasized about doing that with no intention of winning.
You fantasize about a one-man team?
Oh yeah.
He fantasizes about being a loner.
No, about getting tag teamed.
Oh, solid.
No, like I've thought about that. I've been like, man, that'd be fun to do. Like, you'd have no shot of winning. When I left, I tried to get the race director to allow me to run in sport, which is the lowest class, saying if I do this as an Ironman, I should be able to run sport, because then you don't have to change carts. You're racing against lower quality people. To be fair, it's newer people. And he goes, no, you're too good. You'll still win. I went, bullshit. I would never win sport class by myself, because there's going to be a point where I probably have to take a 10-minute break.
No, you should do it.
He won't let me.
Diapers and just do it.
You sweat out enough when you're driving that you don't need that. But he wouldn't let me do it.
You don't need diapers. Kyle Busch pisses in his driver's suit. You can too.
Well,
just get the tube that runs down your leg and it drips onto the track. And
you want me to get a catheter installed so that I can drip it onto the track?
Yes.
That is a whole different kind of Mario Kart.
Hey.
That's a whole different meaning to red shell.
Hey. You ain't first, you're last.
No, there's plenty of other stuff you could be. You could be second. You could be third. Hell, you could even be fourth. If you ain't first, that's high when I said
terrible advice.
So normally we do trivia, and my wife went inside to start writing because I didn't have any time. About 40 minutes ago-ish, 30, 40 minutes ago.
Probably.
And she's just trying to do 10 questions. She's trying too hard. Somebody want to text her and be like, it's good enough, bring it out? Well, her phone's in here.
Beer girl, Taylor. Can you do us a huge favor?
We can't get any good help around here these days.
Do you want to talk about
you
the end of
outsourced
Champ
it?
Car?
Yeah, let's talk about the End of Champ Car.
Did you outsource it? You did. Fantastic.
End of Champ Car was like the most badass cars on the planet, just about.
Respect.
And yet, I mean, granted, it became kind of spec car at the end, right? But
yeah, I mean, it became kind of spec car at the end.
But the cars were still cool.
But the way the series ended was the carpet was pretty much pulled out.
Was it?
Oh yeah.
There's only been, you hear about stuff online, you don't know what's true, you don't know what's not. But like, tell us kind of what the final days were like from where you were sitting.
No, I mean, the season was set to go off in 2008. They just completed testing at Sebring. Everybody's ready to go. And the wheels kind of started to come off around 2006, I believe, at Cleveland. Jerry Forsythe pretty much stopped going to the races after that. All the teams were basically being propped up by the series except for Newman Haas. Newman Haas at that time pretty much said, well, everybody else is getting some money. We want some too.
Right.
And so that kind of pissed Jerry off and everybody else off. So
because Newman Haas was one of the only teams that could really drag down legitimate sponsors, right? Like
McDonald's. No, they had a full legit, marketing department. Yeah. I mean, they were.
And Paul Newman at the time, obviously, that name doesn't hurt your chances. No. And also, he's a very, very smart guy.
Yeah.
So they knew what they're doing. That's not to sell the other people short, but that Newman Haas was at the time was very much the equivalent of Penske or Ganassi.
Absolutely.
And
they had exclusive rights to dynamic shocks and that whole program.
Wow.
Everybody thought they had traction control, but it was really just their chassis setup.
That's been the rumor for everybody who wins for the last 20 years. I remember when Ganassi had Zanardi and Vassar, that they were setting up people in like the final corner at Laguna Seca with like video recorders so you could try to listen for that like ratcheting sound. Yeah. And they came back and like, oh, we got it. And it was like very clearly like the blow off valve, as they're downshifting, but it sounds like this, and it's kind of unique on a car of that level. But yeah, no, it's funny that's always the default. Even in NASCAR, people are always like, oh, Kyle Busch has got traction control. It's like, I don't think that's going to help you very much at Dover.
No.
But anyways, that's funny that's always kind of the same thing.
So, but the season was set to kick off, and then Calcoven and Forsythe pretty much just threw in the towel.
Really?
Calcoven got a pretty nice payoff from what I hear.
Really?
So, in the series was just pretty much hostily took over. So General Lozzi never even really signed off on the deal. He was fighting, trying to keep it up.
Yeah. And most of the teams didn't end up going to IndyCar, right? Only a handful did, right?
Just a handful.
Yeah.
Just a handful. And then, that last race at Long Beach, Tracy he wasn't even going to show up because Forsyth was holding to his contract, but Jerry hadn't paid him. He actually overnighted a check to get Paul to show up at the track, and then he was so bitter and pissed off that he gave Tracy a weekend warrior pit crew.
Oh, man.
And Frank I can't even pronounce his name.
Montagny?
Yeah. He basically got all of Tracy's equipment, his car,
man.
his pit crew, everything.
Wow.
And Tracy could have moved over to the IRL with sponsorship from Monster.
Oh, right.
With Ray Hall. I mean, they had the whole thing ready to go.
And they stopped it from happening.
Well, Forsyth held it up because he held Tracy to his contract.
Man. And I know Tracy eventually did kind of go IndyCar racing for like a year, and he was rusty at that point. And
yeah, by that time it was too late.
And he still had a couple good runs here and there, but it wasn't the same. Now, I don't believe it was that year, right? It was a couple years before that Tracy broke his back at Long Beach, right? It wasn't the final race, right?
No, it wasn't. No, the final race he had a tire go down or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that's the last time I've actually been to a race at Long Beach was that one, and that's not a conscious thing. 'Cause I don't hate IndyCar, but it was I know you do. But it's just kind of I mean, I still care. I still follow the series, and I like a lot of the drivers that are there and all that kind of stuff, and I'm a big Penske fan and all that. But it was, I don't know what it was, but that's the last time I went, and I haven't been like, oh, I got to go back, this next year, and I remember Power dominating the race, but I don't really remember much. I actually couldn't even tell you who won anymore. I forgot already, but I don't think it was Power. I think it was somebody else, but it wasn't Wilson, was it? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Taylor, do you remember who won that? The last Champ Car race at Long Beach?
I have no idea.
There's just so much about that weekend. They had an after party. They had an after party for the Champ Car guys at the Queen Mary, and I went to that. So, yeah, the rest of the weekend's kind of a blur.
Now, Jesus. Now, the thing is, the day before that, that's when IndyCar was in Motegi. That's when they had the companion weekend.
Yeah, that was very disrespectful. Kind of pissed me off.
Yeah.
Because before the race, Danica Patrick and Tony George was all over the place, and I had a hard card for that race. So I actually came face to face with Tony George.
Really?
Yeah.
You could have been a goddamn American hero.
I know.
Just knocked him out.
Yeah, it was too late at that point.
Yeah.
It was too late at that point, but yeah. He definitely won the gene pool lottery because not the brightest bulb.
They had that race at Motegi the day before, and that was what it was a companion weekend. Is they had the Indy cars were in Motegi because it wasn't the first race of the year. It was like the third race or something.
Exactly.
So the Champ Car teams, some of them had already participated in the first couple races, and then the Indy car teams that didn't have Champ cars went to Motegi.
Yeah.
The rest went to Long Beach, and they both counted for equal points. Yeah. And but what I found as odd, here comes our trivia. Give me that trivia. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Thank you, Kaylee. Might make this a running thing. We'll see how good these questions are. That was the first time that Danica won a race in IndyCar, and I'm not a Danica hater. I think she's fine. I don't think obviously she has the Dale Earnhardt Jr. problem, where the fan base makes them seem they think that they're a lot better than they are. Or Dale Jr. has that problem. Where I like Dale Jr. a lot. He's a great guy, and I think he's a very good driver. But his fan base thinks he's God, and it makes him look bad. And Danica has the same problem. She's not that great, but I think she's good enough to be where she's at. Maybe not at the level she's at. She shouldn't be driving for Stuart Haas, and that's a whole nother thing. But the fact of it is
I actually sim raced with Dale Jr.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, his sim racing name used to be Unical.
Yeah, Unical 76.
Yeah, and none of us believed it was him until he sent us a picture of a duct tape, along the side of his car with his name written on it.
Oh, right.
So he's actually a really nice person, unlike Danica.
No, yeah,
who is a horrible person.
And that's what I've heard. And I know that Kaylee almost got mowed down by her on a scooter once.
She's a horrible person.
To be fair, I almost got mowed down when I was about 6 by Paul Tracy.
Yeah.
At Long Beach, he was just blasting through the crowd of people back when he had those glasses, and he was like. He's funny because he was like waving to people but not paying attention where he's going, and like I'm like trying to get out of the way, but he's kind of like lazily going that direction too, so I'm like running into his path by accident. And he stops and he's like, sorry, kid, and drove away. And I'm like, oh, he said sorry.
Yeah.
And, that all aside is, the personal stuff aside is, there's been a lot of people that said that Danica was, that the fix was in on that one. Just like people say about when Junior won in the 3 car and all that stuff. Because Elio, if I remember right, and I don't remember the specifics, but Elio was coming out of the pits or something and like didn't even get on it, went on the back straightaway or something like that.
Well, it was a fuel mileage win.
Right.
When has Penske never had fuel mileage figured out?
That's true. That's a good point.
So,
yeah, and I mean, because she's never, other than that and the Indy 500, that her first or second year or whatever, she really never got that close again.
no, which everybody could tell you that she finished 4th in that race, but how many people could tell you actually won that race?
I don't think that many could, no. I remember, gosh, I'm getting confused now, too, because I remember that the next race, Weldon and I think Buddy Rice both had like these custom shirts made. Yeah. And I think Buddy's just said like Danica's teammate or something like that on it. And Dan said actually won the Indy 500 or something to that effect. And that's the only, honestly, that's the only reason I actually really remember it. And that's because they didn't pay, I was listening to it on the radio that year. I was out doing something and I couldn't, like, they never talked about who was leading. They always talked about Danica. I remember she spun or something with like 20 to go under yellow or something full milk Aduno. And that's all, I'm like thinking like, I want to know who's leading this. And they weren't talking about it at all. And that one, she finished 4th, which is great. And then she won that one at Motegi. And then, I mean, in NASCAR, she hasn't been ever in the ballpark yet. And I mean, she doesn't, I don't know. There's people that are worse than her out there, but, and I don't want to make this a hate on Danica for an hour type of show.
If you do it, but.
We maybe another time. Right. Maybe we'll get drunker and just really just lay into it. So, something that I want to, I kind of want to talk about. How far are we into this one, Matt?
43.
Okay, we got a little bit of time. So we'll get to the trivia in a second, but something that we're going to do, and we're kind of announcing it now, and I don't know when the first one of these is going to be, but we're going to do something that, I don't know if anybody's done something like this before, but we're going to basically get somebody really, really drunk and have them tell us stories about motorsports.
Yes.
So
Sign me up.
see, that's right.
Fantastic.
So we'll get you any kind of hard liquor you want, any beer, we'll supply it. I'll supply it. The podcast will supply it. We'll get in there in my living room. It'll be part of the Growler Garage family, but it won't be a podcast. It's going to be something that's going to be, YouTube specific, because the video is going to be very important there. Get in front of the fireplace. Maybe give you one of my cats to pet.
Real classy.
Sure. Yeah.
Classy. Like Plenty of Fish classy.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it'll be a nice low-key environment, fireplace in the background, just class.
So I want you to think about what maybe a kind of a famous motorsport story that you know really, really well. And think about that. And maybe over the next few weeks, think about it. And we'll talk. And we'll come get you real drunk, and then you can tell it to us.
Yeah, I've got one.
All right. There we go. And then I wanted to...
Fantastic.
I'll talk to him about it more on the next week. But I wanted to get Andrew, who's going to be one of our guests next week. I wanted him to tell a story about Dale Earnhardt while just hammered drunk. Just from the time... And I think he knows Dale Earnhardt's career pretty well, but not like super, super well. So I want him to do no studying on it, so that he can do it off of memory, and then we'll correct him underneath with like captions. I think this is a good idea. I think we're going to strike gold. Idea. Okay. This was actually all producer Matt's idea.
Actually, it was not my idea.
Yeah, but you're taking credit for it.
Okay, fine.
Because don't say if somebody else's, because then they could come after us when it makes us millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So let's not do that.
All right.
Yeah. That could be like a movie The Martian coming out. Have you heard about the guy who wrote that? Mm-mm. So he was on the radio this morning, and I didn't know. It looked like a decent enough movie. I was watching the trailers and stuff.
The Martian?
For it. Yeah, with Matt Damon.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Damon.
Yeah. So they had the guy on there.
They should have really cast him in that new Superman movie.
Why?
Superman, Batman. He would have been the perfect Robin.
What? Why?
Because Ben Affleck is Batman.
Oh, I get it. I was about to say, isn't he Batman? But then I realized it's Ben Affleck.
Yeah. I mean,
that'd be funny.
It would be.
But the guy, like, I didn't know anything about this book or anything, but like he was like a software programmer and was just writing this book like little by little, night after night, and it got picked up by he put it out for free on his website, like his blog, and then it got picked up by some book publisher, and then 3 days later he got a movie deal out of it from Fox, And then a week later, he quit his job.
Set for life.
Yeah, and he's just like, he was actually seemed like a real good dude, but he's like super overwhelmed. Like on the radio, you could tell he's just like super like, didn't really know what was going on.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
And this is the one that like NASA like signed off on it, saying like most of the stuff's like super accurate and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like he didn't, like NASA didn't really like consult with him during it. It's just that he knew that much about space and physics and all that stuff.
Very cool.
And he said the only flaw in the movie is that and he did it on purpose because to add drama, is there's like at some point there's like a Martian like windstorm or something, and it, like I guess there's like a risk of it tearing everything down on Mars. But he said in reality it's like there's not enough atmosphere on Mars to actually cause any problem. Like a windstorm would be like a gentle breeze. So it's kind of funny. I'm like, wow, he just gave away like the plot of the movie like on the radio for free. Like I'm definitely gonna go see it now.
What do they call earthquakes on Mars?
I would assume Marsquakes. Right? I mean,
I'm going to venture to say that would be correct.
Mars earthquakes.
Mars
man,
earthquakes.
these are some good questions.
Shit.
You ready for this?
Just did too good of a job, I guess.
Yeah. No, these are
Can
actually.
I say shit?
Some of these you'll know, which
Yes,
is good.
you
'Cause
can.
that's what we want. But yeah, I think
help with 2 of them.
you need help with 2 of them.
I needed help.
Oh wow. Well, some of these are friggin'.
You could have
Damn.
gone easy on me. I mean, come on.
Some of them. All right, let me get my timer up here. We haven't done 0 to 60 in a while, so this is the pop quiz trivia 0 to 60 challenge. If you live in Southern California, check out pop quiz trivia, ocpopquiz.com. They put out a lot of trivia games. Basically, they do it at bars and restaurants and stuff. And you basically go there, you have a beer, you have dinner, and you answer trivia questions. They do like 6 rounds of trivia.
Do they do it in Tijuana?
I could probably get them to.
Like Rancho Cucamonga area?
Maybe we can.
Okay.
We'll talk to them. Get them to expand out there. If you wanted to host it, they'd probably do it.
All right, cool.
They give out free beers and stuff.
Rancho
And,
Cucamonga, BC.
yeah, let's do it. Find a restaurant that'll do it, and they'll probably set you up. So here we go. So it's 10 questions. The top score right now is 4.5 by our guest last week, Eric.
Is that in the rain or is that dry conditions?
It's dry. It's dry. So basically, we give a half point if somebody can make a decent argument that the question was wrong, and that happens sometimes.
Or if the answer is like really, really crazy close, because that's been one of the situations.
Was he looking through the backside of this? I couldn't tell.
Do you really think I could read backwards?
I can't.
I can.
Okay.
Seriously.
All right.
I can barely read forward. I went to California public schools.
So the trick to this usually is to get through them as quick as you can. If you don't know it, just move on.
Okay.
You're not going to be able to revisit them or anything, but it's 10 and the high score is 4.5. So it's usually a get the easy ones thing. So are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
10 questions, 60 seconds. Here we go. What year did the first Indy 500 take place?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Pass.
Who was the first 4-time winner at the Indy 500?
Allenser Sr.?
No.
No, AJ Foyt. No, probably not.
We'll revisit. As drivers, how many Indianapolis 500 victories does the Andretti family have combined?
1.
Yes. Which driver won back-to-back Indy 500 races in 1970 and 1971?
I'm going to say Allenser Sr.
Yes. What is the American predecessor to the Ford Focus?
American predecessor to
Yeah,
the
in
Ford
the
Focus?
U.S., what was the predecessor?
Not sure.
What is the highest performance Focus model to be available?
ST.
Yeah, I'm going to give you that. What year was the first Focus manufactured?
Oh, Jesus. I don't know.
What is the second most winning engine for the Indy? That doesn't make sense. You can answer the next one because I'm going to give you that one and the next one because I don't know. What is the second most winning engine for the Indy 500?
Offie?
I'm gonna double check because I don't know. I think that's the winningest, but I don't know. And I'm gonna give you this because that last one didn't make a ton of sense. Who has scored the most Indy 500 owner victories?
I'll say Penske.
No, he has the most. So that one's Lou Moore. Don't know who that is.
Nope.
So the one before that, I want to double check that because I'm sure that there's a reasonable thing to this. Number 8 was what is the second most winning engine in the Indy 500? It says Harry Miller. And I've never heard of a Harry Miller engine. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So that's a 3.
Okay. So we'll go back and kind of revisit them. But what year did the first Indy 500 take place? That was 1911. Who was the first 4-time winner of the Indy 500? That was AJ Foyt. You got it, but you answered Allenser first.
Yeah.
So as drivers, the Andretti family has 1 win, which is fun. Which driver won back-to-back 500s in 70 and 71? Al Unser. The predecessor to the Focus is the Escort. The highest performance Focus model. It says here RS, but that's not out yet. So
Exactly.
going with ST.
But doesn't the question say to be available?
No, I added that.
Oh.
So, yeah. So I'm gonna give you that one. That may, or half. I don't know. We'll
Your
give
call.
we'll give you that one. What year was this? It says here when year was the first generation Focus manufactured.
You English real good.
What's all those off of?
That was 1998. The second most winning engine for the 500 is Harry Miller. I'm not familiar with that one.
Beautiful cars.
Are they?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And Offie's got to be number one, I got to think.
Probably.
I think they have like 18 or something.
Yeah.
Or more than that. The second most Indy 500 victories is Lou Moore with 5.
I have no idea who the hell Lou Moore is.
And it must be early days. Wow. Ganassi's got to be getting close to that, right?
Probably. I would imagine.
Yeah, I'll look at it later. And then number 10, we didn't get to it. Who's going to win the Ironman Winter Sub Championship?
Oh, Patrick Britton.
There it is. You would have got that one.
Yeah, I would have.
So you're tied for third.
You know what we should do is we should put 3 with an asterisk. And if I win the Ironman Sub Championship, we give him another point.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we can do that. You know what? I didn't.
I mean, since we do kind of make up the rules.
Oh yeah, no, this isn't legitimate in the least. So I didn't have time to cut a magnet, so I'm going to cut that real quick. So entertain the children.
All right. I got nothing to say. You know how good I am at this. So how's your day?
Good. I really should have got the first year of the Indy 500, but
Yeah, I probably would have said 1909.
yeah, I don't know. The Indy 500 kind of ceased to exist, around the 1995 era with me. So, yeah,
Had a good 94 year run.
exactly. It
Yeah.
did.
It's a strong run. I mean, it's probably not the best, but
I don't know what's better.
well,
It'll be a minute.
why did you unroll the whole thing?
It seemed to work that way. What's that say? Oh.
Well, now that nobody else is listening,
Oh, I'm listening. I told you guys to entertain the children.
you know how good I am at that.
You have a child.
It's true.
You don't want me to entertain the viewers like I entertain my son. It won't work.
You want to teach people how to roll up an extension cord?
I could do that, yeah.
So the Arkham guys were a little nervous about me coming on the show today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
You want to expand on that?
Well, I mean, I guess my reputation.
Nicest guy. What are you talking about?
I know, huh? I am the nicest guy, ain't I?
Watch out for that Jason.
Yeah, well, we're kind of a loose group.
There we go, 3. Right in the middle of the board. We finally have a tie.
Are you going to put them next to each other?
Oh, I guess I can do that.
It's not too bad, though. Bruce is like our RuPaul. I mean, he's always got, the best fashion advice. And I mean, have you seen the guy on race day? I mean, he looks pretty fashionable. Always has matching shit, all new, everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cute. So
Really let me down. I really wanted you to get 3.5 because then we'd have really the whole gamut.
I know I'm disappointed too. I mean, but
So if you win, he gets a half point.
All right, we can do that.
Did
I
you put
thought-
the asterisk on
I
it?
thought
No, I will later.
All right.
I thought Kaylee would do me a kindness.
No,
You know,
those
throw
were
me some
friggin' hard.
softballs.
I mean, I probably would have gotten the Andretti one. I might have gotten the 4-time winner one.
It's a shame too because
I would have gotten the Focus one.
the Andretti family is only going to have one.
I know. It's not going to change anytime soon.
No, it's never going to change.
Well, they say, talent skips a generation. So when Marco has a kid, they might do something there.
I doubt it.
Maybe. That's true because he'd be raised by Marco.
Yes, exactly.
So who knows? Gosh, I still want to keep trying to use this as a bottle opener, but I guess I'll do that off air.
I watched Winnebago Man last night.
What the hell is that?
You have not seen Winnebago Man?
No.
Oh my God! Get on Netflix right now and watch Winnebago Man.
I'll do it in a few minutes.
Yes, you have to watch Winnebago.
What's
Man.
it about?
It's about this Winnebago salesman that just completely loses his fucking mind.
Uh-huh.
Can I say fucking?
Yeah.
Okay.
How old's the movie? Pretty recent or no?
Yeah, pretty recent.
Okay.
Yeah,
really,
it's on
I
Netflix.
would have guessed like 70s.
Yeah, I was thinking something
Well,
like that movie Used Cars.
It was so it's outtakes of this guy that was making a promotional video for Winnebagos back in the 70s.
Uh-huh.
but the movie was just made like a couple of years ago, probably.
Okay.
And yeah, he's like the angriest man in the world.
That's funny. Let's check that out. So there you go. There's your Growler Garage like movie pick of the week.
There it
Check
is.
out Winnebago Man
Yes.
on Netflix apparently.
We should make that a thing.
It's a great time.
Now it is. What are we up to there now, Matt? There's something else I want to talk about and I forgot now.
54.
I'm off the rails with everything today.
We're not supposed to come here about music?
No, that's gonna be next week.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can give us some of your thoughts. So it's kind of a precursor. We can get kind of into a small time discussion about that. But I figured there was enough interesting stuff to talk to you about that we didn't need to really
Sure.
do the music. No offense, other guests.
No problem.
Well, let's see. We're about out of beer. What else? I mean, this is what happens when I don't have time to take any notes, and when I don't have. This is what happens when I have a job. When I have a full-time job, is I don't have trivia questions. I don't have anything interesting to
It's
talk
good
about.
to have a job.
So you gotta learn to do your prep work on the weekends.
Because without a job, this show couldn't continue.
Yeah, it's true. The Growler Garage would get repossessed.
Exactly.
You know, why did it be the Growler Cordoba?
I know.
And then you'd probably end up dead because you're in Fullerton. So
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you can't be homeless in Fullerton.
that's right.
No.
We probably.
You get beat to death.
That's right. It's really, like we're talking the other day, and like nobody ever gets pulled over for traffic violations here. People run red lights like it's going out of style. Like everybody runs red lights here, but yet if you look even the slightest bit homeless, you are getting hassled. Like there's always a homeless person being talked to by the cops on Harbor every day. Every day I drive down there, it's just that person's getting hassled. But yet, person blows a red light by 14 seconds.
You see, I think the way that they do it is downtown Fullerton brings in enough revenue with the DUIs every weekend
Fair.
that they just like, you know what, traffic, it's fine. Just let it happen.
Yeah, that's true. The cops do camp out in downtown Fullerton.
It's been referred to like as the gauntlet, trying to get out of downtown Fullerton on a Friday or Saturday night.
I believe it, and it's also because it's a college town, so a lot of kids come here, as freshmen. Well, I guess you can't drink as a freshman, but
Sure you can.
well, yeah, just not at the bars, right?
Yeah.
There's plenty of like frat houses near there, so there's a lot of that. When school starts every year, downtown Fullerton is a friggin' nightmare.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can imagine, but you can't get like there's a 3-story parking structure there that has like 500 parking spots per level. And it services like a city block is all, and it's full.
Yeah, I generally feel sorry about the homeless,
Yeah.
but there's one thing that pisses me off about the homeless. So I have 2 Siberian Huskies.
Yeah.
The other day I was driving, and I see this homeless guy with a husky
Oh God.
off a leash, and the dog is like stuck to his side. Like I baby my dogs. Like they've got the life of leisure, but if I let my dogs off a leash, they'd be gone.
Oh yeah.
Why does a homeless person have dogs off a leash? How do you do that?
I don't know. I couldn't do it either. Like if I opened this door behind me, like you just see a streak of gold, black, white, and black just down the street. Like they'd be gone. They'd just be like, I'm gonna go explore all the things. It'd be no doubt. I don't know how some people are able to do it, and I have a friend who does
my
it.
dogs do it.
Like
They just stick around.
I think it's
really
because
weird.
I give my dogs too much attention, so they're like, God, leave me alone. So they run away.
I don't know.
Like if we take our dogs to the dog beach on leash,
There's a dog beach?
in Huntington, just north of Huntington.
There's not one in Corona.
No, there's not.
There's
no.
not a beach in Corona.
Are you sure?
What was I saying? Oh yeah, on leash, like walking to the beach from the car. My dogs are complete assholes. But this like barking and like lunging at every other dog in the world, and the second you unclip their leash, perfect little angels.
I wish that they could have seen the motion that you made. It's like, it was entertaining.
Like they stick right by my side. Like, do not leave. It's really weird.
It's weird. Just some. I was about to say some makes of dogs, some breeds of dogs,
Some brands.
Yeah, some of them just do it. We have a buddy who lives up the street who has a what is it? A corgi mixed with a German Shepherd. And they just like it won't just stick by your side, but it knows what it's doing. It just hangs out in the front yard. They can let them just run around. And I'm like, maybe I just don't trust my dogs enough because they're assholes. I don't know, but
JJ ran down the street one time.
yeah, but that's because they ran out the front door because they're chasing somebody.
My neighbor has a Chihuahua Great Dane mix.
What?
Just kidding. Just
How does that even work?
Well, hopefully the Chihuahua was the male.
Hopefully.
We won't get into more detail on that.
And on that note,
Great Dane didn't even know it was pregnant.
I think on that bombshell, it's time to end.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, it was great being here.
yeah. Thanks
again.
for coming. We got. Let me drink beer.
Time to do the plug thing.
Yeah, we got to talk business. Here's the deal. Podcast got to make money. Luckily, we have very low overhead here, but I want to make my house payment with this because, of all this. If we can get an actual business license, I could probably write off the garage.
That's not that hard to do.
But we got to make money first.
Not necessarily.
All right, we'll talk off the air. We need you to buy T-shirts, and I'm going to make more T-shirts. But the ones that are there are like grade A, like 12 out of 10 shirts.
12 out of 10.
12 out of 10
12 out of
shirts.
10.
Yeah. Maybe I should start giving them away to people that are guests on the show. But I don't know. The podcast needs to make money before I can do that.
Yeah.
So if people buy shirts, then I can buy shirts, and then I'll make more money. And I feel like that's how business works. The more I buy for myself, the more money I make. Right?
I'm going to have to look that one
All I
up.
can say is I personally
I'm not a
bought,
business major, so
I personally bought 5 of those shirts, but I was going to wear one, but I'm kind of behind on laundry. And they're the most comfortable shirts I've ever bought.
Yeah.
there you go.
I love them.
Stylish.
Very high quality.
Tinder
stylish.
girls loved them.
Every time I go out in them, I get a compliment. Hey, where'd you get that shirt?
Yeah, and you were like growlergarage.net.
Exactly. So, I mean, people that aren't buying them, they're really missing out.
That's right. And we have these glasses that have our logo on them, which is pretty cool. You'd think it's custom made, but it's available for purchase
Yep.
to everybody, whether you're cool or not, because everybody who listens to this shows. Oops.
There's going to be a certain after party after the awards banquet.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe we should serve glasses,
Oh.
serve drinks in those
I thought you were going to say that we should maybe do a podcast there.
we could do a podcast. Oh, my God.
It's not that far from
You
you.
want to talk about a total shit show?
could do it.
Rancho Cucamonga.
We could do it.
Yeah.
We'll worry about that.
Well, it's North Fontana. I say Rancho Cucamonga
live in Corona.
because I don't want to say I live in Fontana. I mean,
There you go.
Of course
Yeah.
not. You live in the home of the Quakes.
Yes.
My cousin used to play for the Quakes.
Really? Who?
Well, no, I don't think anybody knows his name, but Sean Mulligan was his name.
I do know his
How
name.
do you what?
Because I used to go to Quakes games all the time.
Yeah?
Sean Mulligan, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
He was kind of a big deal for the Quakes, actually.
He was, because he ended up
Yeah.
going to the Padres,
Yeah.
and then he went to the Indians.
Yeah.
And I haven't been in contact with him in a while, but you make it to the big leagues. I mean,
Yeah.
you make it to the big
No,
leagues.
he did good with the Quakes.
Yeah, he led AAA in RBIs for a couple years in
Yeah.
a row. He was one of those players that was just very just solid. Wasn't super flashy, like 47 home runs a year, but he leading in RBIs is pretty damn
Yeah.
good. But yeah, so that's I went to a Quakes game one time.
It's a good time.
It actually was. It was. I was sick, so I couldn't have a beer. But if I gotta think a minor league baseball game would probably be a damn good time.
Minor league baseball games are fun, especially on Thursdays at the Quakes. It's like dollar beer night.
Oh come on, let's go. If only they had one like on a Saturday after a Super Series.
They usually do.
We need to find. That needs to happen.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's make that work. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Jason, and everybody that was on the show. We'll have to have you back again when I do some research and
Don't
when I'm
forget the
prepared.
plug.
Good deal.
Don't forget the plugs.
Already plugged.
You didn't plug anything.
I said growlergarage.net.
And that's it.
Yeah, they can find everything they want on there. Or you can go to youtube.com/growlergarage, Twitter @growlergarageoc, Facebook, just search for Growler Garage. I don't know if we have a URL
It's
or not.
facebook.com/Growler Garage Podcast.
All right, so just search Growler Garage, and you can interact with us. We share pictures of Marty Robbins. We talk about 4-door NASCAR vehicles. It's just a bad time in general, so check it out.
Totally not a waste of time.
No, we
Not
might
at
even
all.
give something away at some point. I got these.
Let's definitely talk about doing a show though at the after party.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be a really good time.
I think it would too.
Yeah, no, let's try to figure out a way to make that work.
Yeah,
I mean, we'd
we
have
can
to
get
pick all this stuff up, but
This show at one point was mobile, so
that's true. We wouldn't have the
be that
lights,
hard.
but I'm assuming your house has lights.
Of course.
Okay.
I have my other lights.
Well, he probably has lights. It is a house.
I do.
Well,
Have
no,
that.
but like my soft boxes and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll work on it. But that's going to be, the awards banquet usually goes to what, like 9?
I think so.
That's
I don't
late
know.
for some of us.
I mean,
It's my
I
bedtime.
can't imagine being there after 9.
It's my bedtime usually.
Yeah. Might have to do it sans Matt, that one. Get Kaylee to produce it.
Well, it's on a Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just bring the baby. Bring the wife. It'll be
Sure.
fun.
Yeah.
The baby goes to sleep at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, he'll be back awake and ready to party.
Exactly.
Maybe on the Facebook, I might give something away in the next couple weeks. Who knows? Because
Maybe.
that car show I went to last week, and I ended up going, but I didn't have my car, so I just went to hang out. But I had registered, so I got the bag of goodies, And the coolest thing ever, they gave me a tortilla warmer.
Nice.
Was in the bag of goodies.
I think the after show is definitely a must. I mean, you're gonna have everybody there.
Yeah, no, it'll be
mean,
something.
Drunk interviews just lined up.
What we got to do is we got to make sure whoever wins championship is there. If it's Taylor, it'll be easy.
I don't know. Taylor said maybe, so I don't know.
He's gonna. If he wins championship, he'll be so drunk by that
So-
point. We'll be able to drag him wherever we want.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
And unless he confirms. I mean, John Kimbrell actually said he's going to be there. So
All right. Well, then I'm rooting for John until
Exactly.
Taylor confirms.
exactly.
You know, I'm in the anybody but Logan camp personally.
Yeah.
You know, well, I can go. There's a lot more people I don't want to win, but you know,
Yeah.
looking at Logan and Sergio. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.